Oh my god, you guys are chatty today. Hold on. All right. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the stream. Doing a little bit of a Q&A. I will say, I'm going to say right at the beginning, we're going to hopefully not talk about the leaks, whether it's in chat or it's from me. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, we're gonna hopefully not talk about those unless we get to maybe the second half of the stream and people want to talk about it or something. But let's try not to talk about them. And I know them, so I will try. Like if I'm answering a question, I'll try to not yeah. But yeah, so let's get into it. I kind of went for more of a sadder tone to the stream. But yeah, let's get into it. So Jesse asks, so will the season end with the Battle of the Gullet? No, I've been saying this pretty much the entire season. Don't think it's gonna happen. Even in the trailers, they didn't build up to it or anything like that. So don't think we're gonna see Battle of the Gullet. But I don't know. We could see maybe another battle, possible. I don't know. It's a very difficult question to kind of answer given what I know. But I don't know. Where do you think season 3 will end? See, this is where I go back and forth because there's been rumors it could be 5 seasons for the show, and if that is, it's definitely not going to get ended on a plot point with Daemon and Aemond. That's just not going to happen. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe we see a certain battle that involves Kristen Cole in it. Maybe that's the end of season 3. But I think 4 is good enough. I don't think 5 seasons is needed for the dance, but I don't know, Jesse. I'll have to see. Dakota asks, why wasn't Daeron mentioned at all last season? I really don't know. If you want my honest opinion, the only thing I can think of is maybe they didn't think he was that important of a character, or they could introduce him later. I don't know. I have no idea why they wouldn't talk about Daeron at all last season. And kind of what I think Chrissy said in here, it feels like they mentioned him in season 2 because people were so upset that he seems like he wasn't even in the show at all because he hasn't even been cast. There's no casting right now. If you look up Daeron casting, there is nothing there. So we'll see. Hopefully we get. I would love if we just got a whole plot line of Daeron in season 3, but who knows? Hi Chin, how are you? And sounds good, by the way, on being in and out of the stream. Hi Zeno. Hi Matthew. Why does this song sound like Begin Again from Fallout New Vegas? I've never played any of the Fallout games except for Fallout 4, so I can't go there. But it was Goodbye Brother from Season 1's soundtrack was the song. Many of you, God, Zeno trying to take over and burying the House Targaryens. I don't know if that's going to happen. Hi Violet, how are you? Chrissy, yeah, I did see him. I'm trying to keep an open mind in terms of seeing them written down is different from it being shown on screen. There's things that maybe it could be executed better, but yeah, some of the things I've heard, not a big fan. Also, yes, the Game of Thrones soundtrack, pretty good. I know House of the Dragon is also pretty solid, but I think Game of Thrones just has way more recognizable tracks. And I don't know if that's because Game of Thrones has bigger moments, and so those tracks elevate those big moments. Or it's just I don't know. In House of the Dragon, I think the only tracks that really stand out to me are Rhaenyra's theme and Alicent's. Those are the only ones that I really distinctively remember. Or I think that are elevated. Yeah, probably won't talk about leaks at all. It's the hardest thing not talking about the leaks. So juicy, yeah. I'm gonna refrain from talking about them because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that doesn't know what's gonna happen next episode and all of that. But we'll talk about it. So let's talk about Moon Boy and Patchface. Well, I actually have been kind of going through a lot of Patchface's stuff. I'm on The first chapter, I'm getting my notes kind of ready because the first chapter is so long. It's so long in Clash of Kings that I needed to I wanted to have all that stuff prepared so that when that goes out, right? That I'll already be kind of working on episodes in the future. So, yeah. But yeah, I've been looking at Patchface Lies. Got a lot of cryptic prophecies. Returning into Grease the Disappointed. I'm Grease the Disappointed for episode 7 maybe, but it'll be Grease the Angry in episode 8 if I don't like it. When do you think the Battle of the Gullet will happen next season? That's a tough one. Because I think it should happen early on in season 3. I would predict within the first 3 episodes. They may stretch it. So, you know how we had, the Battle of Rook's Rest happen in episode 4? They could maybe push the Battle of the Gullet to episode 4, but it would be a lot of stretching, in my opinion. What's going to happen with Patchface? I think Patchface may go sicko mode when Shireen gets burned, and that could create a whole big problem. That could maybe we get a grayscale, plague or whatnot. It'd be cool. I think they're gonna go 5 seasons. Yeah, I don't know though. I don't know. I don't know if we need to go 5 seasons. Also, Dakota, we should be live. May want to hit a refresh. Or if YouTube's bugging out, you can always go to the Twitch. I also am live on Twitch as well. Yeah, Daeron, basically not being a character is kind of insane. In the show, he's been mentioned a few times now, but Daeron is one of the major players in the actual dance, so it is kind of weird. Gullet will happen episode 3 or 4. Finale will probably be God's Eye of season 3. No, I do not think so. If they're going to go 5 seasons, Chin, don't think that we're going to see those type of events until season 4. Just because in terms of you look at main characters and things like that, I just don't think that's going to go to season 4. I was also really surprised. So I put out a poll today that Matthew suggested, and I was very surprised to see how many people actually in my community have not read Fire and Blood. It's a third of the people, a little bit over a third of the people that went on that poll have not actually read Fire and Blood. So I actually find that very interesting. I agree, Ghost. I think it's really weird that Daeron is not been part of the show, right? In my opinion, he should have his own plotline in the next season, an own POV of him in the next plotline, similar to Daemon or Alicent or Rhaenyra. And it might feel weird for viewers because they're who is this guy? We're already 2 seasons into the show, and this guy's all of a sudden just taking the forefront. It is weird. I don't know. It is weird. Hi, Mohammed. How are you? Your stream went down for me. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's no good. I did see that it was having a little bit of frame issue at some point, but I don't know when that was. I hope season 4 is where it ends. Just 10 episodes or 12 episode seasons. The only way I'd accept 5 if we get some serious character development soon. Too much. Yeah, I do think if they're going to go 5 seasons, I think you're going to have to do a lot of extending on it. Why people deliberately pick Team Black, although they have a history of genocide in their hands? I think the simple fact of why people pick Team Black, if you're just looking at it from just a Team Black to Team Green situation, is Rhaenyra is named the heir by Viserys, and so she should have the crown. And so the Greens, especially in the book, read as they're power hungry and they steal the throne from Rhaenyra. Now, both sides aren't very good. The way you're supposed to interpret it is both sides are bad, they're causing a lot of issues, and they both have their faults. But when you look between both sides, it's well, either between Aegon, who is not a very good king, he shouldn't have been king, or going for Rhaenyra, who's supposed to be the queen. I don't know. Hi, Maz. How are you? So wait, Maelor did appear on the opening in season 1? That is weird. That is weird, because then they must have retconned that, which I find weird to me. I did not, Andrew. That's kind of crazy, though, that was getting leaked that long ago. Oh, God, Dakota. Maybe. I have a theory. I think they may wrap in Laenor with Viserys' second story after the Gullet. There's just no way we're never going to see Laenor again. I hope so. I hope they do something with Laenor, but I made a video and I kind of stick behind that. I think they just killed him off screen. It's not the first time that's been done. You look at, for instance, Hugh's daughter died off screen, something that's kind of vital to his character, and they kind of did it off screen. So I don't know. I think House of Dragon kind of has a bad track record in terms of just deaths off screen and stuff like that. I don't know, Dakota, which question was up? Or if you used to use Twitch, I don't blame you. I think the thing is, right, Twitch is so weird because if you become someone, right, that you get ads for your stuff, it's not like YouTube, where I think YouTube, like, it's a bit better on terms of ads. Like, you'll get skippable ones. It's not too bad. Twitch will give you legitimately 6 ads in a row that you cannot skip, and they're like 30 seconds long on each ad. I think Twitch is a wild platform. Like, if you ever want to make a Twitch and you're actually trying to, like, you know, do something with it, like, I'm doing it just to be like, you know, just to have on the side because I can. Do not put ads on your streams. I think that is the worst thing you could possibly do. Because as somebody that, like, will watch Twitch, I will just stop watching Twitch because I keep getting bombarded by ads. What would the in-story reason for no Daeron be? I mean, we know he's a thing. We just don't know, like, what he's doing right now. We know he's claimed, like, his dragon. He's rode his dragon, but we don't know anything really of what's happening in the Reach. Like, we know a little bit, but not much. I don't know. It's very weird. If Laenor does show up again, what would that do for Rhaenyra and Daemon's marriage? I mean, publicly, right? It would be like, oh, well, your children are with Daemon are, like, not legitimate because you're still married to Laenor. So I don't think it's going to happen that way, though. Like, if Laenor comes back into the story, I don't think it'll be publicly. I don't think people will really know. I think it'll be one of those things where, like, maybe he helps some people and then he kind of disappears again or dies. I agree. I'm not a big fan of how they've done Daemon in terms of the last episode. Melisandre versus Alice Rivers. I think Melisandre is more interesting, and that's just because we've gotten more of her in terms of even the show and the book. Alice Rivers in the book is left very mysterious. We don't know a ton about Alice Rivers. She's a very mysterious figure. The show's kind of started to peel that layer back, but Melisandre is still way more interesting as of right now. I think the goal should be early on, but if they want to develop characters more, they may move things around. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it seems like they're going to stick with probably an 8-episode season, I think. But in terms of, like, that, do you want to put your big battle in the middle of the season, the start of the season? There's no way you can stretch out the Battle of the Gullet until episode 8. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, you could not save it to episode 7 or 8, but... Okay, Zeno, yeah, that's a good correction, by the way. Apparently the next episode, yes, the whole episode is basically leaked. And it's not like, oh, like, it seems like maybe somebody can be making this shit up. No, it's like something where, like, HBO specifically, like, said there was literally a problem. So, yeah, it seems like the whole episode has been leaked, more or less. But we're not talking about it. I mean, Fire and Blood's not the best book, like, in A Song of Ice and Fire, but it's definitely not the worst. Philip, probably because of budget. And also, they didn't cast a character to be Daeron yet. I've seen casual viewers reacting to House of the Dragon. Most of them are now aware. Yeah, because they've kind of thrown in some extra scenes, but he's still not a character, really. Like, he's just something where it's like, okay, we're getting some offhand remarks, but we're never seeing him type stuff. Ander, for the most part, like the second half of the season, I completely agree with you. My sister is a casual viewer, and she said it was strange that Vhagar killed 2 dragons by ambush when it's supposed to be old and slow. Thoughts? I don't like mind it terribly, because the one thing you look at with Vhagar is he shouldn't be able to like outrun other dragons. So for one, like that's why I have a lot of problems with, for instance, episode 7. Like, how did Vhagar catch up to Silverwing when Silverwing is significantly faster than Vhagar, because Vhagar is just bigger? And then in that same logic, Vhagar trying to run away from you would never happen. You would have all dragons would be quicker than it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it too much, but I could see why people wouldn't like it. Team Green is carrying the show. I agree. At the moment, I agree. Not about House of the Dragon, but would Rhaegar be high in your list about Targaryens? No, he would not. I don't think Rhaegar was a good individual in terms of how he processed things. He was somebody that, in my opinion, was extremely selfish. He was somebody that kind of had that classic Targaryen, like, ideology of he's kind of better than everyone else. Like, he puts his needs above everyone else. Like, think about how he handles, like, going off with Lyanna. Like, if you take 2 seconds and think about that, like, come on, really? I don't know. I don't think Rhaegar would have been a good king at all. Now, would he been better than Aerys? Of course, but Rhaegar would not be high on my list. Like, there's a lot of different people I'd have above Rhaegar. I don't think Rhaegar would even hit my top 10. Yeah, Zeno, they might. I mean, they might go, like, just stuff from kind of the show and maybe take things from the book here and there. That's one thing that I think as the show has gone on, they've gotten more and more loose with the source material. That's just kind of been proven in this season, which isn't always a bad thing, right? Like, there's some changes they make that are good, some changes that aren't so good. So, yeah, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see how the season kind of ends out, and then we'll kind of gauge it. But, yeah, I don't know. Alicent disappointed me with such a good character in season 1. Yeah, I've talked about this so much. Alicent, to me, probably the second best character of season 1. And then episode 9, in my opinion, really derailed where the character seemed to be naturally going. And so then they had to, like, shift gears with the Alicent character into season 2 based upon episode 9. And I think it's really hurt her arc and Rhaenyra's arc. I think the two have been tied together with this connection, and it's really, really slowed down both of their characters. One shot I have this season not giving side characters any personality, like Jane, Aaron. Yeah, but like I don't blame them on characters like Jane, Aaron. Like Jane, Aaron is not really that relevant in terms of this season. Like, you don't need to show her a bunch. Like, if you were going to do like Jace having like a side plot for like majority of the season where he's going to the Vale, he's going to the North, he's going, to the Twins, then yeah, it makes more sense to give the character more personality, but we just didn't need that in terms of the way they took the story. And like in that same vein, I think they've given a lot of good personality to people like Hugh, who is definitely a side character right now, or like Rhaena, who's a side character. So I think on some accounts they've done good, some accounts they haven't done so good. Real about the Twitch ads? Yeah, Twitch is I don't know. I am not a huge fan of that platform. Big Mom will stay the same, but how the show, it will be different. Yeah, I think just in terms of, based upon how this season's gone, I think the way they're going about it now is they're just the big events will more or less stay kind of the same. And even then, they won't really stay the same. Like Blood and Cheese, for instance. Same idea, way different execution. So I think they'll take those big moments and they'll still kind of be there. But the way we get to those moments, I think is going to be completely different now. So, yeah. He would show up in the first episode of season 3 with Otto Hightower. Maybe. That could be that'd be really interesting, actually, if we connected, like, Otto with Daeron. Those two would be really interesting to interact with. You think the show will end the same as the books? Minimal. I would say, yeah, in terms of, like, I think the natural ending point of the story is with Aegon III. But we'll see how far they want to go. Yeah, like Chrissy. That's my thing, right? Is the big moments are going to more or less stay the same, but they won't maybe feel the same way they did in the book. That's already been felt in season 2 for me, right? Like big moments from the book feeling a bit different because of how we got there. So, yeah. Amazon Prime is a great time. If you have that for Twitch, it's always a good time. It's a good way of getting out of it. But if you don't have that, you're absolutely fucked. Do you like what they did to Jace's character? No. I've kind of talked about that a lot. And like, I'm not as, like, heated on it. Like, I was really heated on it when it came out. And hearing people's perspectives and, like, other stuff, I'm like, I'm a little bit more warmer on it. Like, I still am on the fence of, like, I don't really like what they did with the character. But I don't know. I'm not, like, in that hate camp now. I'm kind of just like, eh. I mean, I wish they would have done something different with it or led up to it better, but it just, they didn't. So we'll see what they go from, or let's see what they do with it and kind of judge it from there. Episode 7 marks the first time I think they've had 2 small council members have a scene together without a main character being present. I mean, the Black Council has had a lot of stuff where they've kind of talked where it isn't like Rhaenyra in the room or like Corlys in the room. So, yeah, but again, we haven't seen a lot of that. You're right. Like, in terms of the other people in the small council talking, we haven't really seen that. That's one thing that's, like, plagued the Black Camp. Is, like, outside of Rhaenyra, outside of, like, maybe Jace, nobody cares about anybody on that small council. Like, maybe Corlys, but even Corlys is not really developed that much in the entire, like, we're 18 episodes, or I guess 17 episodes into House of the Dragon, and Corlys still feels like a underdeveloped character. Like, he just doesn't have a lot to the character. Rhaenys kind of felt the exact same way. Like, she had certain things that defined her, but they didn't really dive into her character, like, at all. So, yeah, I mean, the Velaryons got done really dirty, in my opinion, these first 2 seasons. Like, they have been criminally underused. Yeah, Cannibal, just not going to be there because of budget, probably. I don't get how Rhaenyra and Daemon can calm Vermithor down, but he just burns everything else. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of made unclear as to, like, how that works. Is it because the dragons recognize they're Targaryens, or, you know, like, recognizes them because they're around a lot with the dragons? How does that really work? It's not really made that clear. Yeah, Chrissy, there's a lot of stuff that's already out, and it's not great. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe the execution will be good. But I don't know. I think Fire and Blood is the worst A Song of Ice and Fire book. That's your opinion. Fair enough. I love Fire and Blood, but and that's not fair. No. Hi, Robbie. How are you? But I guess talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about, you know, the episode on, you know, Sunday. Well, actually, I don't even know if I'll get back to you guys on it. I'm assuming regardless, I will be doing a stream Sunday. I don't know if me and Ricky are doing a stream on Sunday or we're doing it Monday. I don't know if we're getting an actor on or what, but, you know, I'll let you guys know, like, in the preview stream. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Jace stuff. I kind of talked about it, Soup, but I'm not a big fan on it. Just kind of felt like it came from nowhere. Like, and yes, people pointed to, like, maybe some stuff in the past that could have, like, led to that. But when you're kind of referencing stuff that happens in season 1, like that hasn't seemed to bother the character of Jace like this entire season. It just comes out of nowhere to make it feel like there's conflict between him and Rhaenyra. So I wasn't a big fan of how they kind of just used Jace to kind of create conflict. I don't know. Agree, Jesse, but like that's the thing I like about it. I like the idea of having to like think about, okay, was this actually said? Like I like the unreliable narrator part of that book. I like trying to decipher, what's going on there. I apologize to Vagar on misgendering, I guess. A make-believe dragon. Yes, she's old and slow, but she's powerful. I think an ambush makes sense because she's so huge. The only way she can catch something is by laying in wait. Now, how no one sees her is a real question because she's so big. That's true. That's true. My favorite Team Black member is Pete Longleaf, the Loyal Slayer. Will we get to see him? It's possible, but I wouldn't bank on it. Especially like more minor characters, I would not bank on it. Do you think there will be a GOT sequel? John, I think if they did that, they'd be stupid. But I think it should be like, if they're going to do it, wait a while. Like, let some of these shows get the audience back, then do a sequel show. I don't think like it's a smart idea to do a sequel show now. Like, maybe in the future, like 10 years down the road, maybe. But as of right now, no. Thank you for your super chat, Chin. I really appreciate that. Did you try to say something? Hold on. Well, thank you, Chin. I appreciate you for your super and appreciate you. Appreciate you. If you got any questions, let me know, Chin. I'm so far behind in chat, by the way. Hold on, Chin. I'm gonna get to your question here in a second. Oh God, we're still talking about Alicent and goddamn Cole. Okay, here we go. Oh my God, dude. You guys are going on about Alicent and stuff. Rhaegar's kind of overrated, to be honest. People tend to cut him some slack because some people spoke fondly of him. True. Like, very biased point of view. Oh God, Zeno. Oh God. I don't know. Alicent be looking like she's getting a baby belly. Oh my. Maybe she's pregnant. Maybe she's got a little Cole baby. And it was not Daeron. Wasn't Rhaegar also obsessed with the prophecy? I think that plus the sense of entitlement is a theme in House of the Dragon too. The dangers of prophecies? Yes, I agree. Grease, I'm more of a recent viewer of your channel. What is your problem with Alicent and Rhaenys episode 9? I think I can predict Rhaenys, but I can't. I want your complete. So okay, let's break this down. So the idea that I have with the character of Rhaenys. So Rhaenys is this character that seems to be wise, that like only is there to give wisdom almost to Rhaenyra in terms of how society kind of works, right? That men don't want women to be in charge and things like that. And, her more or less getting passed over, and then Laena getting passed over as being queen with Viserys and all this other stuff. And so when you get to episode 9 and you have this big moment where it's like playing really, uplifting music, and you see Rhaenys just bursting through the ground. She's easily killed at least 100 civilians. She doesn't recognize that. She never thinks about that. She never thinks about that the rest of the show that she's in. She doesn't think about how she killed a bunch of innocent people. None of that stuff. So the character fundamentally does not work in terms of this character and the scene itself glorifying like this cruel like action that Rhaenys just did. You put that part of it on. The second part of it is Rhaenys has the option now to kill. Like why the fuck does Rhaenys, who doesn't give a shit about killing any of these hundreds of people that are in this, Aegon's coronation, but then she cares about Aegon, who's basically going to take the throne, is going to lead to a civil war, and thousands of people are going to die. Like, her actions don't make any sense. And then in season 2, the character continues to preach, even in season 1 as well, like, and why Rhaenys backs Rhaenyra. She's all about, oh yeah, we gotta have peace, and we can't let the dragons attack each other, all these things. But it rings completely hollow because Rhaenys herself has killed more civilians killed more people than Rhaenyra ever has. So it just fundamentally breaks the character of Rhaenys as a whole. Alicent is a bit tougher. So Alicent, if you think about the character of Alicent and the natural progression of it from episode 1 all the way to episode 8. So Alicent's journey is really about her fractured relationship with Rhaenyra, right? She is someone that's being manipulated, pushed into this sense of you have to follow the rules, you have to do your womanly duties, you can't do all this other stuff. So she does all that. She is jealous of Rhaenyra because Rhaenyra goes against those ideologies. It's very much the Arya-Sansa effect. Sansa is Alicent, Arya is Rhaenyra. And so when you have that stuff kind of playing out, and eventually you get to this point where Rhaenyra lies to Alicent, and it's kind of, whatever. It's like, oh, did you sleep with Daemon? Well, she didn't actually sleep with Daemon, but she slept with Cole. And, well, Alicent finds this stuff out, and it's, okay, Alicent just is like, okay, we're going to stop doing this. I'm not being friends to Rhaenyra anymore. I'm going to actually do what my father tells me, because he's also telling her that, Rhaenyra is going to kill all your kids when she comes to being on the throne because they're going to be viewed as a threat. And she buys into that because Rhaenyra lies to her. Okay. So then you have this whole trajectory. So we get to Rhaenyra and Alicent, in episode 6 after the time skip. And Alicent has basically completely started to take over control at court, right? Kind of pushing Rhaenyra out, basically hinting at and all this stuff that her children are bastards and all this stuff. And even when you see that Rhaenyra takes her family and they go to Dragonstone, you see that fracturing with like her and Rhaenyra where she cuts her and all that. Alicent completely takes control of King's Landing. She is going so far as to basically allow Vaemond to, take Driftmark, take all that after Corlys, which is publicly denouncing her children's claims, right? Calling them bastards, all these things. He's also then, with Otto's help, training Aegon to, be the next king, or trying to, right? She has all these scenes where she's like, why are the way you are and all these things. They're actively trying to get Aegon on the throne. It's made very clear. We then get to episode 8, and it seems like, okay, Alicent and Rhaenyra kind of have some, face value thing, and she actually, it seemed like, I thought Alicent was just lying to Rhaenyra, but they seem to, just make up or something. And then Alicent hears Viserys say Aegon, and then that's what springs into action this whole thing that, they're going to put Aegon on the throne. Then you come into episode 9, and with episode 9, the biggest problem with it is at the Green Council, it seems like now that Otto's been the only person that's been pushing Aegon to go on the throne, and that's not the case. Episode 6, 7, 8 all prove that to be false. Alicent was heavily involved in all those things. And so it paints this idea that Alicent is just like, what? You guys want to put Aegon on the throne? You guys have been plotting this whole time? He plays almost the victim card, and it's really weird. And so ever since that moment, Alicent has been like, oh, I wasn't the person that did this stuff. And so it completely changed the character of Alicent, when she had a natural character arc of being an antagonist to Rhaenyra. At the very last second, they switched it. And so they made it to where oh, they're just kind of on, uneasy terms, but she doesn't want to go to war and all this stuff. She doesn't want, Rhaenyra to get usurped, all this stuff. It's like, you've been setting this up for the whole season, and then you switched it up at the last second. So that's kind of why I don't like Alicent and Rhaenyra, or not Rhaenyra, Rhaenys in episode 9. Episode 9 is one of my least favorite episodes. I would say it's in my bottom 3 episodes of the entire show. It just fundamentally changed a lot of different characters. Actually, Alicent switches up, the end of episode 8 and then into episode 9. Why have there been no foot scenes this season? I'm glad we're not seeing any more foot stuff. No more foot stuff. We have seen Aegon's foot. Just saying. Larys was there. Saying. Character changed the most from the book. I would just straight up say Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is nothing like the character she is in the show. Rhaenyra is the most changed character, in my opinion. Hugh being Sarah's son. Yeah, I actually do like that change. I do find that very interesting. It actually is I think a decent change. Will the book end with Aegon the second or third? It'll be the third, 100%. Yeah. Stand by, the final character we will see in the series will be Alicent up in a tower staring at the window as the coronation bells ring. Maybe. I think that'd be a good way to end it. Fuck my keyboard. Do you think the show will show more mainstream houses, Martells, Boltons, Tarleys, Manderleys, Tyrells, Red Wines? We're definitely going to see, I think, some Reach houses for sure, especially if we get a Daeron plotline. I think we're going to see more of some of the northern houses like we're accustomed to. We're definitely going to see the Riverlands. We're going to see a little bit of the West. Again, this conflict really is the entire scope of the world, right? I don't think we'll see maybe the Martells, but we'll see a lot of the other houses that like prominent in Game of Thrones. Just logged in. Yes, we're not talking like spoilers or leaks or anything of that stuff. And this is a fair warning to anybody that does. If you do, I will probably have mods like mute you or something like that, or time you out or something like that. Cregan kind of being overrated. Ooh, that's an interesting topic. Like, I'm not like the biggest fanboy of Cregan. But I can maybe see where you're coming from. I think a lot of people love that character. I am not one of those people. I think he's a good character, but not like one of the best or anything. What are your thoughts on the age differences from the book to the show? For example, Aegon the Younger seems way too young. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of weird stuff like that I have questions about. Like, we don't really know yet how they're going to do some of those things with like Aegon and Viserys. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. But I do think it's weird. Like, some things I think are good in terms of the ages. Like, having Rhaenyra and Alicent be like the same age, I think is actually interesting. It adds like a different layer to their kind of relationship. But I don't know. Well, we'll just have to see. Like, stuff that you mentioned, we just don't know how that's going to play out yet. I think all the blacks are underdeveloped. Even the 3 new Dragonars, I just don't care about them. I'm not sure why. They just seem like stock hero characters do not like it. I definitely can see where you're coming from. Like, Ulf is not that developed of a character. He's not that developed of a character in the book either. Like, he's very underdeveloped. I think like the show's done even more than the book has, which is kind of crazy to think about given we haven't seen much of him. I think Hugh has been good. I think they've done a decent job with Hugh. I think we could have gotten some more. Like, his daughter dying off screen is kind of wild to me. That just is weird. That's a huge character moment that happens off screen. I hate things like that. But I think they've done a decent job with Hugh. But yeah, I don't think you're wrong. Like, I think Team Black, not a lot of the characters have really been developed for Team Black. Maybe April, that it could definitely be it. Opinion on Silverwing barely being silver. I don't have too much of a problem with it. It does like kind of be like, why is this dragon kind of named that? But I don't really have any problems with it. It would have been cool to see all the different colored dragons, you know, having their own different fire, but I can see maybe why they didn't. Maybe been extra like CGI stuff and all that. Hi Fizzle, how are you? Who said Fire and Blood is the worst? A Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, it is. In my opinion, it's not. I also love Fire and Blood. Watching the show makes me miss the acting of Tyrion, Cersei, and Jaime. So incredible. Yeah, but I don't think that's the problem with House of the Dragon. I think House of the Dragon has very good acting. I think there is not a single character that I can point to and go, yeah, this person not so good at acting. Like, I think every actor of the main characters, even a lot of the side characters, are fantastic in the show. And whenever I criticize like the show, has nothing to do with performance. Usually, I will specifically say if it's performance, but usually they do a fantastic job. Have you seen the leaked scenes? It looks worse than last episode. Joey, I have seen a good amount of what's going to happen in the next episode, but I do not want to really talk about it. I agree, though. I didn't think it was that great. Soup Lord, I think so. Hold on. Oh my god, I'm so far behind in chat right now. I am sorry for being very slow on chat, but you guys have a lot of questions, and I'm trying to do them all justice. I just know the additional scenes, and Duncan Egg will try to connect the show with House Dragon. Yeah, it probably will. I mean, Blood Raven, I think, will be the character that definitely will be connected to all that. But yes, Chin, thank you for your super chat as well. Chin $100 more dollars and Greece will confirm. I will never confirm N plus A. It's not happening. Stannis recognizes Aegon. One true king recognizes another. Stannis is misguided in some things. That's all I gotta say. Hot take. Sunfire would beat the snot out of Cyrax? Maybe. Like, I think Rhaenyra has more experience, and that would, like, equal it out, but yeah. All right. What else do we got here? Greece, you're turning into Greece the angry? Nah, I'm not even angry. Sometimes I get a little, like, flustered, just for your entertainment. Rhaenys is overrated. In the show, she's overrated, not in the book. Show Alicent, oh, how I hate her. I don't have a smart analysis on why she's a bad character or sucks. She just does. I think she's still a good character in the show, but I think that there definitely is criticism of the character based upon what they did in season 1. Not really season... I mean, they did some weird stuff with the character in season 2, but yeah. Alicent's motivations have done a 360 in both book and show in season 1. Alicent is mostly motivated by self-preservation for herself and her kids, but now the prophecy is all that matters. The fuck? There's some wild stuff. There's some wild stuff going on. My question is, Corlys obviously got better, so if Aemon did win, what would happen? Can't he still name his own heir? That's a dangerous precedent. Yeah, like, if they would have, like, set the precedent that, oh yeah, Vaemon comes next, like, Corlys is still alive, I don't think that would have gone through. I also don't think Corlys would have liked it. Other people saying what his heir should be, that would have created a lot of issues. Honestly, HBO just can't let Alicent be a villain. They want her to be sympathetic in the face of Team Green, even though it should be Aegon. I agree. I mean, this has been one of my biggest problems. Outside of Daemon, the show has not, and Aemond, I guess, in this season, they haven't, like, allowed some of these characters to really explore some of their more villainous sides. Like, by this point of the war in the book, like, these characters are unrecognizable to the characters they had at the beginning because of how much the war makes them do things. Like, in the show, it's like, okay, Daemon's the bad guy, and, like, yeah, I don't know. And we'll see how they wrap up his character arc, because I think episode 7 did not, like, fulfill his character that well. And so going into episode 8, like, it'll be interesting to see how they finish it, because in my opinion, episode 8 is everything for how I view Daemon in this season. If the finale of his character doesn't show him growing throughout this season in a reasonable way, then I think I look back at this season and go, we wasted Daemon for an entire season. Because all these visions didn't matter. They didn't change him as a person. He just stayed the same. So we'll see. And that was part of my problem with episode 7, is it didn't allow Daemon to really use kind of the things he's been learning about himself and growing as a person to really, like, act or do anything. Like, he should have been the one saying, yeah, let me kill Willem Blackwood to make things right. But they didn't do that, right? They kept Daemon, like, kind of as the same character, but being bullied by a kid. It just didn't, it felt out of place. You think it was bad they cut out Kristen Cole encouraging Aegon to be king? Yeah, it's really weird that they had one of Kristen Cole's biggest moments, if not his biggest moment of the entire book or show, and they didn't really give it to him. Was really weird. And especially when they even reference that in season 2, when it doesn't make any sense, given he didn't actually, like, make Aegon king, really. He just put the throne or the crown on his head. He didn't actually do his job. Like, I don't know. Hi, Ashley. How are you? I will still watch season 3, right? Like, I'm still going to cover it. Like, I am still in a Song of Ice and Fire channel, and with that, like, comes, I'm going to cover House of the Dragon. Because it also is just good for like content, just talking points about things. Like a lot of my content at least has been one video discussing like the show, right? So like Saturday's video is going to be about like how or why Hugh and Ulf were claimed and kind of how that went down, but I still will look at it, or I still will watch it. I may not be, if it's bad, I may not be as invested. That's the difference, right? So like, for instance, episode 7, I did not take detailed notes for that for Stream Monday because I didn't want to rewatch the episode. So I kind of just freeballed it. We just came in here and I was like, let's just talk about the episode, some of the things I didn't like or some of the things I thought were good in it and all that, but yeah. Okay, Ashley, I want to clarify slander of Rhaenys in the show, not the book. Okay. That will be true. I will be cool to see some peaks, random stuff. Soup Lord, I do not think so. On the bastard thing with Aegon. Yeah, do you think we'll actually ever get to see what actually happened to Tyrick, or Tyreek, as he is on this channel? I'd hope so. I think that'd be really cool. It was a whole 5 minutes of Rhaenys slander. I did talk about Rhaenys in the show being kind of dumb. I wish Alicent tried and failed to stop the Green Coup. She then realized she can't prevent war and choose her children over Rhaenyra. Blood and Cheese could affirm her decision to make her hate Rhaenyra. Yeah. It just, like, if you even look back, and this is my thing, like, I almost want to make a video about it, like, saying I was wrong, because every time I talked about House of the Dragon before, whether it was on my channel, other channels, my thing was always about we're going to see these characters drastically grow based upon the events of the show, and they really didn't. So. Joey, I wouldn't say it's cut from the show. It may go to Jaehaera, maybe, on terms of the Maelor plot. But the Battle of the Gullets, I don't know what they're going to do with the Aegon stuff. I don't know if it's going to be a situation where Jace tries to rescue him or something, and that leads to some other stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Ashley, don't be given in to Dakota's nonsense. I actually enjoy Ulf personally. The actor was a super funny show in the UK. Yeah, see, my thing is, though, like, I get why people might like him. I just don't like characters that are incompetent and then get lucky until their standard gets raised. I don't like characters like that. Like, that character is a fundamental issue with, like, how does he get elevated to this position? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Fire and Blood got me into a Song of Ice and Fire. That's crazy. You don't see that take very often, Zeno. That's a very unique experience you have. My God, I'm so far behind chat. All right. Grease, you're on the wrong side of history on the N+A thing. You'll see. Well, if Winds of Winter ever gets released and we find out Jon's parentage, and when it's not N+A, I'm gonna Fortnite dance on all you N+A people. That's all I gotta say. What were some things from season 1 that got cut from the books you didn't like? That's an interesting one. I would say something that I really did not. See, the thing is, there's not a lot of things I in season 1 that I dislike that they cut. There's a lot of things I think they added that I didn't like. But one thing I'll say right away, the war in the Stepstones not really being a war, it kind of takes away from, like, one of the biggest parts going into the actual season 2 was that Corlys and Daemon have a lot of war experience, and you don't get that feeling based off the show. But I'd say the Battle of the Stepstones or the War of the Stepstones is probably would be my number 1. I think that was really weird that they cut that. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. What's some other stuff that they cut in season 1 that I wasn't a fan of? There's a lot of Maester conspiracy stuff that they kind of cut from season 1. Like, in terms of how Rhaenyra gets kind of betrothed to Laenor, that conversation, that's a huge conversation for Maester conspiracy stuff. I don't know, just like general stuff like that, I guess. Grease Cruel is entertaining. You may see him Sunday or Monday, whichever. Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate we haven't seen most of Rhaenyra's kids' soup. Like, outside of Jace and Luke, we didn't really see any of the other ones. Do you think the writers are biased towards the blacks and makes the greens looks like villains? I don't know about that one. I mean, it's obviously written to where the greens kind of usurp Rhaenyra, so it's kind of hard to be biased in that term, but I do think in terms of, like, balancing it out, like, Daemon was the season 1 villain. Like, outside of Otto, maybe, Daemon was the season 1 villain. Also, The Advocate, thank you for the super chat. Let me read it. What did you put as a super chat? Writers started deviating hard in season 2, watched them change even more in season 3, and not even bother with a Rhaenyra dark turn. If they do that, we're gonna have problems. That's all I'm gonna say. We can't start like Rhaenyra. That's what makes her interesting, is her, like, turn to being a little bit more darker of a character. I don't know. But I appreciate the super chat. Do you think Missandei is a Children of the Force? I don't think so, but I haven't seen any evidence to support that. So I'd be interested to see, like, what the argument is there. I'm expecting season 3 to be a lot better. Cam, I'm kind of off of that. Like, that's how I thought, like, going into season 2. I thought season 1, based off of what we got, I thought season 2 was going to be, like, so much better. And in my opinion, so far, it's been worse than season 1, which is wild. Because season 2 has so much, like, more events that happen in that sequence. And you didn't have, like, the time skip issue of season 1 and some of the stuff that plagued season 1. The fact that I think season 1 is better than season 2 is not a good thing. Like, that is not a good thing. So, if the finale is good, maybe I change that opinion. Maybe I'll say season 2 was, like, on par or better than season 1. But so far, season 1's better than season 2. Andrew, I agree. That title's not very good. Since House of Dragon is coming to an end, what's your plan for the channel? Let's go back to the normal stuff. We'll do some Winds of Winter stuff, probably, like, every week or two. We'll do, like, the Q&A stuff. I haven't been doing that during House of Dragon season, but we'll probably get back to doing that. We'll probably just do my rereads, which will start up in September. So I'll probably have, like, month break between House of Dragon. Then we'll get back to the channel rereads, which will probably be every Tuesday, like before. The streams will change. It'll go back to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, probably. Or maybe Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, something like that. It'll be one of those two, I think. And we'll just go back to our normal stuff. I got a lot of series going on at the time that I haven't really been doing during House of the Dragon because it's kind of consumed my time, and it's more relevant to make House of the Dragon stuff than other stuff. We'll continue doing our Blackfire series. We'll continue doing our top 100 characters ranking, which that'll take a while. And, we'll just do some things as they come up. If we have to talk about Winds of Winter in terms of, like, George giving us more stuff coming out or stuff like that. But, yeah. There's more of the usual that was happening before House of the Dragon, like, Season 2 came out. Worst adaptation, Blood and Cheese or The Red Sowing? I think Blood and Cheese is more impactful and is something that's I personally found to be more interesting than The Red Sowing. So for me, I'd say personally Blood and Cheese. But it's weird because I think Blood and Cheese, if you have it as a standalone, is better than what we got with The Red Sowing. But I think Blood and Cheese is more impactful, so I'd rather Blood and Cheese be done, like, better, like how it is in the book, than I would, like, The Red Sowing. So, I don't know. I rewatched episode 7. There's nothing likable about Ulf, in my opinion. I agree. He's just a drunk idiot. That's what he is. Like, there's nothing that you look at and you go, oh, okay, that's kind of relatable. Like, unless you're in a phase where, you're an alcoholic or something like that, like, he's just not very interesting. Season 2 is as bad as... Ooh, wouldn't agree with that one, Ander. Season 7 is terrible. Like, there's nothing redeeming about Season 7. At least Season 2, there's definitely stuff that is good in it. It just hasn't... A lot of it was in the first 4 episodes so far. Advocate, self-proclaimed hater of Ulf. Yeah. Big hater. Big hater. Big... But yeah. Maybe they can grow in Season 3. I'm just not very... I'm not very... what should I say? Positive right now. That's all I'll say. I'm not very positive. I had that mindset. They bought my trust after the end of Season 1, and then they threw that trust in the garbage, more or less. Based upon the second half of this season and some other stuff they did in the first half of the season that I'm like, I trust you enough that it's going to be good quality, like a 7 out of 10, but I don't expect much more than that. Soup Lord, it's Barristan, and anybody else that says no to that, they are wrong. Chin, I don't think we'll see the drug addiction plot, but maybe we will. I don't know. If they're trying to do 5 seasons, maybe they'll fill it out. Who knows? Fizzle, that could be very possible. That could be very possible. I could definitely see them doing that. Opinion on best dragon rider. If we're talking about just in terms of everything, it's just probably Aegon, the Conqueror. But if we're talking House of the Dragon, probably Daemon. Agreed, Matthew. I'd like more nuance with Ulf. I agree, Ashley. And that's the thing. If they're using it as Rhaenyra's turning, as her like allowing the innocents to die, it's like it didn't make any sense to begin with why she did that. So, an illogical plot point that I didn't like to begin with is the thing that turns Rhaenyra is just weird to me. Like, you've watched your son die, or you didn't watch, but your son died on a mission you sent him on. Your father died, and it seems very suspicious on his death. And there's a lot of rumors on that speculation. Let's see. Blood and Cheese turned the public completely against you, and so people think you're doing stuff that you're not. You had a breakup with your husband. What else? You have to send away your children for safekeeping. Like, out of all the things that turned Rhaenyra, it's that. It's just weird to me. Yeah, we are not doing leaks in here. Is it Cam? Here's the weird part. So some people like Dunk and Egg. Some people like House the Dragon source material. I think most people would say they like Dunk and Egg source material better. Cam, here's what you have to look at in terms of Dunk and Egg. There is a much more built story. There's not as much you have to do to Dunk and Egg to make it onto the screen. Whereas House of the Dragon, there's a lot of stuff where it's like you got to write the dialogue, you've got to kind of fill in the gaps, you've got to have your own interpretation of what happened in certain events, because in certain events, like multiple things could have happened. You have to kind of figure out what you think happened. That's not the case in Dunk and Egg. Dunk and Egg is just a straight up a story. It's like if you read a Catelyn POV for an entire book, more or less. Jesus, unfortunately, N plus A is Ned and Ashara equals Jon Snow. It's a very bad theory. That's like reading the Silmarillion, then reading the Lord of the Rings books. Agreed, Violet. Soup Lord, I think I don't even know, honestly. I don't know. I think they will after Rhaenyra starts to maybe descend a little bit more into darkness. They'll have her be cut by the Iron Throne. I could see it. Hope to see Greasy overjoyed on Sunday or Monday. I hope so too, but I don't have a lot of faith. Don't have a lot of faith. Oh my god. I'm so okay, here we go. Rhaenyra looking tasty. Oh god. Uncle Ruckus, keep it in your pants. Keep it in your pants. Not a fan of show Helena as well. It's cool that she's a dreamer and all, but it feels like Blood and Cheese never happened. Like, how is her tragic character going to progress? Kind of like Game of Thrones brand 2.0 with one-liners. I agree, Robbie. I like started to like Helena, but they didn't do anything with the character. Like, they just have these cryptic one-liners and then she just leaves. It was so weird. Will we ever see Cannibal? I don't think so. Just in terms of Like, it's extra CGI. It's extra time on something that doesn't need to be shown. Do you think the writer's strike affected the show, or is Ryan Condal not good at running the show? I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin with that, because like there's things that happen in this season that I literally just look at and I go, I'm not a paid writer, and I don't claim that I could ever write a show better. But if you gave me a script and I had to read over it, I could tell you some of the things that you wrote in it were just stupid. They were just stupid as hell. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just they felt rushed because of the writer's strike, or they had a vision for something and they just didn't get it executed well. I don't know. Did you watch the new episode leaked? I saw leaked notes about what happened, PK, but I'm not really going to talk about them too much in this stream, or at all. I'm not going to talk about them at all. But yeah. I think Ryan Condal, the writers, prioritize character development. That seems to be where a lot of your issues are. Yeah, I think in terms of where they're coming from, they are a little bit, I think, worried to dive into the darker side of characters. They just seem to have this like hero complex with certain characters like Rhaenyra, and I just don't get it. I don't understand why you would take a character that is plagued by complex like issues based upon the events happening around her, and then just basically make her a one-note character where she has one basically emotion. She doesn't lash out on things, but then because they changed that personality, some of her actions don't make any sense. Like, she's emotionally intelligent. She's not shown to be stupid or very like emotional, so that like takes over her logical brain. Like, Catelyn is the perfect character in terms of she has the emotional side of her brain and the logic side of her brain. And so sometimes one of those sides wins out, makes her a very complex character. Rhaenyra doesn't have that at all, right? Like, she's been shown to be very emotionally intelligent, and then she just makes bad decisions for some reason. The logic doesn't add up. Like, a decision like, oh, she sneaks into King's Landing. Any sane person would go, that's really fucking stupid. But she just does it. But then hasn't been shown to do any of those tendencies. Go back to season 1. Alicent attacks her with a dagger, and Rhaenyra is pretty calm through the entire situation. She gives off a pretty good of a zinger line. She roasts Alicent. So where did it all come from that Rhaenyra just all of a sudden now is just like, gonna act on a whim and go to King's Landing and talk to Alicent when it obviously is stupid? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know if we'll see Sunfire in episode 8. I don't know. They might keep it kind of vague. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Jesus, I could talk a whole stream on that question though. Like, in terms of how I think Ryan Condal writes characters and the damage that he does to them at certain points. I don't know. I think that's going to be a big talking point after the finale. We'll see kind of how that goes. Oh, God. Dakota, you need to keep it in your pants. Okay? Agreed, Ashley, on terms of Helena. And I liked her season 1, and season 2, they haven't really done much with her. I mean, Zeno. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't mind if they change things from the book, but they market the show as being like faithful to Fire and Blood. And it's like, yeah, Fire and Blood has all these different, things that could have happened. But then they don't, like things they make up obviously didn't happen in the book. Like, obviously. There's no chance that they could have happened. And I'm like, that's where I'm like, okay, well, this is a very loose adaptation book at times. And so it feels like you're kind of getting manipulated a little bit. I don't know. That's fair, Zeno, though, in terms of like your friend and stuff. Yogi's. Well, I was talking about like people that are still alive. I was talking about people that were still alive. But yeah, I think Rhaenys and Meleys also had a very good bond and stuff. I thought episode 4 was pretty good throughout, like in terms of Aegon's inner conflict, in terms of the battle, the way it took place. I thought episode 4 was good. Don't think it was the best episode of the season. Like, I think episode 2 was better. I think episode 6, it's kind of in the ballpark of episode 4. I think they're around the same, but yeah. Episode 1 was bad. See, I don't agree with episode 1 being bad. I didn't like the blood and cheese sequence like as good as it was in the book. Don't think blood and cheese was bad though in the show. Like I think it was underwhelming. I don't think it was bad. I thought everything outside of blood and cheese was really good in episode 1. So I just don't share that opinion. Episode 3, I can agree, wasn't great. I think the last 10 to 15 minutes of that episode killed it. But yeah. So a lot of people seem to have confusion about this. Rhaenyra was not planning a trap for Aemond. Like that was not. It seems based off of everything they showed us in the show. Maybe episode 8 they explain this differently. It literally just comes off as Ulf can't control the dragon, and so Silverwing went to King's Landing, flew back, and that's it. But I do agree though, Joey. I don't feel like a lot of people are kind of talking about, or even like those deaths don't matter as much. Like Rhaenys is like a prime example. Agreed, Violet. I do agree. I think they've kind of softened some stuff like that. It's not as bad as like Game of Thrones season 7 or 8. No, I think right now, like even season 1 is very comparable to season 5. Like it had its good points, it had its bad points. I don't know. Was just rereading Fire and Blood and got a crazy idea. Maybe Daemon fell for nails because he knew her as a thief and was the one that slit her nose. Then she managed to claim sheep steal. Interesting theory. Interesting theory. I like that. I like that. Oh, agreed. Ashley agreed. I agree. On terms of like Rhaenyra gets assassinated, doesn't seem to phase her. Outside of like getting rid of her kids or whatever. But that doesn't also have anything to really, I don't know. What is your? I do think that's weird. Murillo, like that seems like something that like should be talked about. There should be some like weird air between Mysaria and Rhaenyra, and that just doesn't seem to be a thing. So we'll see if they talk about it in episode 8. But I don't know. Kind of really, really weird. Really, really weird. I agree. Catelyn is a Skylar White of A Song of Ice and Fire. I agree. Jesus, I do think like this is the thing. Alicent and Rhaenyra should not have been main characters of season 2. That's just a fact. Based off the source material, where the story goes, they should have been kind of side characters, allowing other characters to come into fruition. Characters like Jace should have been a main character of this season, and he was very much a side character. We're lucky if we get 2 or 3 scenes of him per episode. Could have been a main character. All this time going to Alicent and Rhaenyra could have been spent on, furthering Daemon's plot, for instance, or furthering Helena's plot, or furthering Aemond and Aegon. If you even think about it, Aemond, he only gets like 1 to 2 scenes the first like couple episodes. So, hi Reese, how are you? I'm doing all right. So I'm talking about PK. I'm talking about Rhaenyra when she grew up. Everybody has like not good emotional intelligence when they're young. I'm talking about when she grew up. When Rhaenyra becomes episode 6 Rhaenyra, she shows herself to be very self-aware and emotionally intelligent. She goes to Daemon because she realizes, shit, I need somebody to help back my claim. He has the best like dragon right now at this time, outside of like Aemon and Vhagar. He has a claim. We can unite our claims. Yeah, Andrew, I don't know who's telling them that we want to see them keep meeting up, but that's just not factual. I appreciate the jaw marks, by the way. I very much appreciate that. Question: if Nanny Vhagar is kept so far away from Aemon, literally outside the city, why hasn't Rhaenyra's faction? Oh, no idea. Actually, I have no idea. Means of whether Helena will jump. I don't even know. They've changed the character so much now that I honestly think they might change her ending. Soup. 12. Very interesting name. I don't think you're wrong. Like, I think they're doing some stuff in terms of cutting things that are really weird to me. Oh God, Ander. We're keeping it in our pants, Ander. Keep it in our pants. Agreed, Ashley. They could have easily killed Vhagar by now. Or Aemond. One of the two. As of right now, I agree. Like, I think season 1's way better than season 2. I just... In terms of, like, what we got in season 1, like, Viserys' character arc in season 1 was better than anything in season 2. It's not even close or debatable. I like Oscar Tully better, and mainly it's because of his name. The show contradicts itself so much, it's crazy. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a problem. Yes, Zeno, there is an edit on Twitter of them kissing, more or less. It's weird to me. Agree, Chrissy. Like, there's no reason to have Alicent and Rhaenyra meeting, like, after 3 or, like, 4 episodes. There's no reason for that. The characters haven't grown. Nothing changes between the two. A question. Will dragons with riders do anything besides defend themselves without their riders present? That's a good question. I actually don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting question, Dakota. You think Hugh's fate might change with him technically being higher in line for the throne than anyone there besides Daemon? I think his whole arc is going to be completely different. The character just is different in the book, which is a good thing. So I think the character's going to be completely different. Soup, I think Aemond is just going to be rash. I think he's going to just try to attack Daemon, and then things going to play out. I think it's not as cool as the book was, but I think that's how it's going to be. So Violet, there was a scene in episode 7 that they're talking about their daughter, and I thought, like, when I interpreted it after, I was like, oh yeah, Hugh's daughter must have died. That's why he's saying all this stuff. And I was kind of like, people in chat, and then Ricky and the Advocate, they all saw it, like, that he was kind of not actually saying she was dead. Came out later that, yeah, she's dead. She died off screen. So that was really stupid as well, but that's another reason I don't like episode 7. But I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream there, guys. Part of it's because I gotta go to the bathroom, and I don't want to leave the stream on for like 2 minutes while I'm not here. So, yeah. But I will see you guys all in some videos, some streams this week. Appreciate the super chats and stuff like that.